Well, happy Friday the 13th, and welcome to Friday Night Live. I'm Annie Temple, and tonight I'm going to be talking about conquering my fears about dating. And I'm 50 years old. I have a history of avoiding actual dates. I met most of the my partners, my long-term relationships. Most of those people I met through friends, or I met in nightclubs, or in social situations. Which apparently people don't do that anymore, and I certainly don't get out very much anymore. Uh, I thought it was my age, but almost everyone I talk to says that how they meet people now is through online dating. Um, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So in my in my past, there were a few times where I almost went out on dates. Like there was a time that I I was at the laundromat with my little girl. She was 2 at the time. I only had 1 child, and we were doing our laundry, and there was a man doing his laundry, and about an hour went by or something, and then he just came up to me and said, "I couldn't help but overhear you talking with your daughter, and you seem really cool, and I'd really like to get to know you. Can I take you out sometime? And can I get your number?" And I was like single, and I'd never really gone on a date before, so I said, "Sure." I said, and I gave him my number, and I said, "What's your name?" And he said, "My name's Jay." I really hope Jay isn't watching this right now. So the minute he told me his name, I regretted giving him my phone number. This is so shallow, but I dated a JJ, and I dated a J. And the most recent person that I had dated was a J, and it was the same name as the father of my daughter. So I just was like, I cannot date another J. But I said to myself, that's stupid. That is so stupid. You just go out on a date with this guy. And he seemed really cool. And, I still look back and think, I wonder if we would have hit it off. But at the last minute, I came up with an excuse and said I couldn't go on the date with him. And there was nothing wrong with him. And I was too embarrassed to admit that it was because of his name. And I look back on that and I just feel so bad. And, whatever, but the weirdest things that go through our heads. Um, so I don't know what it was that always held me back. Like there were times when I was supposed to go on blind dates, and I also jammed out at the last minute. And every time I've ever really been supposed to go on a date, almost every time I jammed out. A few times I've been on dates and really regretted it, where it was just like I knew I was not attracted to the person, and it was just an excruciatingly long date. There was one guy who asked me for my phone number in the lineup of Starbucks once. I was a little older. I had a few kids at home. Um, and anyway, I can't remember when it was. I can't remember how old I was, but I gave him my number. He seemed nice. He, complimented me and seemed friendly. And I'm wanted to just try dating. And I met him for coffee. We met back at Starbucks for coffee. And while we were sitting there, he started saying really weird things that I found insulting. Like I had a necklace on that was made out of copper, and he was like suggesting that it was dirty and I should clean it. And what else did he say? I said something about my children, and he said, "I'm glad you don't call them kids because they're not goats." And just a bunch of stupid stuff that really rubbed me wrong. I thought, "This guy's a loser." Sorry, that's judgmental, but that's what I thought at the time. And then we went on, and we just had really opposite political views. We were just there was nothing compatible about us. And then at the end, even though I thought it was really obvious that we had nothing in common, at the end he said, "So, do you think you'd want to get together with me again?" And my mind was just blown because I was like, "I don't think so." But I thought that how could he be blind to what was so obvious to me that we were not compatible at all? So after having like experiences like that and avoiding dating and meeting almost everyone I ever was like serious with just kind of in person randomly by accident, and also after for years choosing the wrong men, choosing men based on basically, if I'm honest, based on sexual attraction and not looking at their values, not looking at how stable they are, how long they could. I mean, especially with my most recent ex, I wasn't even thinking about the future at all because I was living for today. And I'm kind of in that mode, generally speaking, now. I can't imagine thinking I need to assess whether this man is going to be good enough to be with me for the rest of my life because I just don't believe in that planning that far ahead. But having said that, I do like the idea, and I only know this because I had this with my ex, where I actually imagined us growing old together and the companionship aspect of that is appealing because one of the things that when things are really good with my ex, one of the things that I loved was when we would talk and share our day with each other and laugh about things and worry about people together and come up with ways that we could help the people we loved and we had the same sense of humor. So that kind of companionship was really wonderful. And I thought that it would be so cool to grow old with someone that you have that kind of companionship with because it's special to share your life with somebody. It's the sharing part. Only if it's good though. I mean, if it's fighting and toxic and angry and jealousy and that's not good. I would way rather be single than go through any of that. So, and that's kind of where I'm at, and that's why I feel like, it would be pretty cool to meet somebody maybe and have, like, a long-term relationship, but I'm not really at that point. Right now, I just feel like, "Wow, I'm single again, and I have an opportunity to finally do this dating thing right." I hope. So, my fears, I have a bunch of fears that have held me back, and mostly those fears come from like my past experiences, but also I have fears like, what are this man's expectations going to be? Like, is he going to expect a serious relationship, which I'm not willing or capable of giving right now. I'm very focused on my family and my business, and I have so much going on that it's hard to even fit in these dates or coffee with one of my girlfriends. It's just really hard. But it would be cool to have someone, just to like do stuff with once in a while. And so this is going to be just an opportunity for me to meet different people and learn fascinating things and maybe really connect with someone. My what I'm looking for is somebody who's really intelligent that can really uh, challenge me, challenge my mind in a respectful and exciting and fun way, and has stories and things to talk about, because it's just a more enjoyable way to spend your time. If you're with someone, if you're actually in the presence of someone, it's really nice if you can have some good conversation together, rather than both just staring at your freaking phones or watching TV and watching movies, and like there's no connection in that. And I find that that's oh, look at, I'm slouching so bad. I find that that's what a lot of relationships that I've been in have kind of evolved into. And that's just boring and lame, and the relationship is doomed to end for me. But I was talking about my fears. So another fear I have, so his expectation is that he's expecting some kind of long-term relationship. Another fear I have is that he's expecting sex because I'm not out looking for hookups. I'm not touch starved this time. I'm not lonely. You know, I I think that when you really go out looking for that sexual connection, when that's your main focus, it's usually really out of a deep loneliness. And I even mean that for players. You know, they may not want to be with one person because for whatever reason, they have blocks. They have mental emotional blocks that prevent them from being that way, but they're still lonely. And so I mean, sexual connection is very spiritual and it really just it takes all the loneliness away for a few minutes. And it's like meditation because you're so present. Anything you do where you're really present is spiritual. And so sex is very spiritual. Playing sports, dancing, anything that brings you into your body, into the present moment is very spiritual. So, and you know, when we're lonely or when we're hurting, we gravitate towards what can make me feel better. And sex makes us feel better. So I understand why there are people who are looking to hook up and looking for you know, sex and stuff. And I don't judge anyone who that's what they're looking for, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for mental stimulation. I'm looking for somebody to talk to and have fun conversations with. And, you know, it's just my life is just like staring at a computer, work, and family, and I love it. I love that, don't get me wrong, I love every minute of my life, but I just want some new experiences and to learn new things and meet new people. So, so excited about that. One of my other fears has been, what if they like me a lot and I don't like them, and I have to reject them or hurt their feelings? And I feel terrible if that happens, you know? Uh, oh, hi, Michael. Thank you for commenting. Yes, so I don't know if other people feel that way, but maybe it's a silly fear. And I also think, what if they're crazy? What if I'm putting myself in danger by meeting random men? And also, I have this other fear because if they don't follow me on social media or anything, then they don't know about my work and they don't know about my ostomy. And so that becomes like an awkward conversation that I'll have to have if I do like really connect with someone, you know? And really like for me, it's kind of the I feel like it's something that I would want to get out of the way at like the first meeting because I'd want to see the person's reaction to gauge whether there's any point in spending any more time with them. You know what I mean? So that conversation, that awkward conversation makes me get a little bit scared about dating too, like when I was filling out my dating profile. So I started a Patreon and I'm writing a dating diary on there. And the reason I'm laughing is because several months ago, when I first became single, I was interviewed for a podcast. The gentleman who interviewed me is Lopez from Sharp Game. Sharp Game is his kind of code name, and he wrote a book about dating, and he has a podcast about dating. And he told me that when I was ready to create a Tinder profile or to start online dating, that he would help me create my profile. So he agreed to allow me to record him helping me create my Tinder profile. And I shared it on my Patreon. And it's pretty funny because I didn't agree with him with very much that he suggested. Even though he was there to help me, I didn't really take much of his advice. So it was very funny and interesting. Um, but yeah, anyway. So the reason I decided I was ready to finally try online dating is because I went out for a couple of dates. They were kind of dates with two people I met on Facebook, two men that I met on Facebook who asked me if I wanted to go out. And I said yes. And there's more to it in each story, but ended up meeting with both of them. And in both cases, I had a really good time. They were both really, funny, attractive, intelligent, interesting men. And I felt like this is cool. This is nice. This is something different from what I usually do. This is, I enjoyed it. And the second gentleman that I went on the date with, and I've written reviews of these guys on my Patreon. And one of them wrote me a review back. No, and I'm gonna post it. But um the only reason they know about the reviews is because they follow me on Facebook. And so yeah, anyway. What was I saying? Okay, the second guy, I asked him a lot of questions about online dating, which he's been doing and he has experience with, and he was just so patient with my questions and honest with his answers. And I started to feel braver about trying Tinder. So I created a profile, and I've been on Tinder for, I guess it's been like since yesterday morning. I think I I made the Tinder the day before, and then it took time to get approved, and then I forgot about it and didn't check it, and then I checked it yesterday morning, and nobody had messaged me, and I was like, "Is anybody gonna message me? What if nobody messages me?" But then, messages started coming in, and, yeah, so far I've had several gentlemen reach out to me. One of them recognized me and knew who I was. And I thought to myself, well, that saves the awkward conversation. And something I've noticed is that a lot of the guys on Tinder, because I mean, I don't know how online dating goes. Are you supposed to text for a really long time before you meet up? Because I don't have a lot of time for a lot of texting. Also, uh, I don't know, like, one guy wanted to talk on the phone, and I am not a phone person. Like, I don't like to talk on the phone to the people I love the most in the world. I mean, I do, but just not for very long. I'm not a phone person. I don't like talking on the phone. Um, I like to text because I like to multitask. I think sometimes, am I too busy? And I even have people criticize me sometimes, like, "Why do you take on so much, and why are you always so busy?" But actually, I think that I like it. I like to be busy. I like to have a lot going on. I do think I'm gonna cut back on my podcasts maybe, instead of releasing one every week, maybe twice a month, just because I have a lot of stuff coming up that I'm so excited that I'll be telling you over the next few weeks, and into the new year. And I need to free up some time. And one of those things is I'm writing a fiction novel about a sex worker and a client, and it's a romance fiction, and I'm recording the chapters. I'm releasing the chapters on my blog for free on my website, but I'm recording the chapters and releasing them for free on my Patreon. So if you have a free membership on my Patreon, you can listen to me tell the story, and there are now 2 chapters up. So yeah, check that out if you're interested. That's something I'm so excited about because I love writing and I love writing fiction. So now that I've decided to start writing this book and putting it out, it forces me to do something I love to do, which is writing fiction. So I'm totally off the dating topic. I'm just really super excited about everything that's going on. I think I was going to say the Tinder, one thing I noticed on Tinder is that the guys don't really close the deal. Uh, I express interest in maybe meeting for coffee or something, and then they don't say anything. And I'm like, Am I supposed to say something? Am I supposed to set everything up? Am I supposed to make all of the plans and decisions? And I don't know. I'm so new. Like, is this a new thing between men and women in our new society where men are nervous that they're going to say the wrong thing, so they just don't say anything? I don't know. Uh, I, I'm trying to figure it out. So Tinder kind of sucks in some ways because you have to spend money to be able to see who likes your profile. But I think honestly, if they like me that much, then why don't they just send a message, right? Um, and they don't give you a lot of room to write a bio, which I think kind of sucks. And I guess I bet if you pay for it, you probably have more room for a bio, I'm guessing, but I don't know. But I think that if I were to uh, look through like scroll through and look through the different gentlemen on there, I'd really like to see something that tells me what kind of person they are, like on a more deeper level, like years ago, I was on Plenty of Fish for about a week. And in that week, I got inundated with messages. That's why when I woke up yesterday morning and had like no messages, I was like, okay, is it because I'm 50? What's wrong with me? And it's funny because I was also talking to a male friend who said that he has to get off of the dating apps every once in a while because he said he'll start to feel bad about himself. And I thought, just admitting that for a moment I was worried that no one was going to want to date me. Like I could see why that could affect someone's um, emotions. Uh, so just, I don't know why went off on that as well, but I feel like, oh yeah, I was talking about Plenty of Fish several years ago. Okay, so I was scrolling through all of these profiles on Plenty of Fish, and I came across this one guy that was like, F the government, I don't believe in pharmaceuticals, natural everything. Um, I can't remember anyway, but it was like that, the gist of it. And I'm very natural health type because of all of my experiences with the medical system and, the medicalization and the pharmaceutical injury and all of that. I'm actually kind of terrified of medications and pharmaceuticals and try to stay out of doctors' offices as much as possible. So that appealed to me. And I also don't trust the government and have thought of them as very corrupt and just taking away our rights more and more every day. And I've been thinking like this since around 2010 when I started to really go down the rabbit hole of investigating like the different plans that our countries have for us and going into it. Anyway, it is a rabbit hole. And it's all starting to come out how really corrupt our governments are and how like in bed they are with the different agencies and whatnot. But I've known about it for a long time, but I felt like I was one of the only people who did. And now because of COVID and because just everything that's happened, a lot more people are starting to realize how corrupt our governments are and how in bed they are with the mainstream media and how in bed they are with corporations and especially pharmaceutical companies and that kind of thing. So, I really liked that. Like that guy, I was like, it was the first time I ever was like, I like this guy's profile. And I bravely, courageously, very out of character for me at that time, sent him a message and said, "I like your profile." And we talked back and forth a few times, and we even met up. And I was attracted to him, but he never closed the deal. He never closed the deal. I'm not I know it must be so hard to be a man because you're the one expected to do the asking out and you're the one expected to make the first move and all of that. At least I expect you to. And maybe it's because of how old I am, I don't know, but I I'm not the type of person who makes the first move. Like I just don't. And maybe I've changed now because it's been years. But in the past, I was never that woman. So I don't know if he wanted to kiss me, but if he had kissed me, I might have become his girlfriend. Um, Now I'm like, I'm not in I'm not looking for a boyfriend. Then I would have liked to find someone because I was very lonely and touch starved at that time. But now I'm not lonely, and now I'm just looking for excitement and friendship with, the possibility of who knows what in the future. I have a kid at home that's, going to be in high school for a few more years, and I have a business that I'm working on, and I have a very full life. So I think it would be hard for someone to really um, get much from me at this time in my life. But you never know, right? You never know. Um, I have a goal to stay single for longer than I usually do because in the past, I would call myself a serial monogamist. I've just gone from one long-term relationship to another. And if you know anything about attachment styles, I have a secure attachment. I haven't always. When I was younger, I had an anxious attachment style and avoidant. I was both. I would go from one extreme to the other. But now, and it's largely because of the personal growth and the personal development that I've really engaged in for myself, and also because of my health issues, what I've been through, I've really learned about what matters in life. And I'm really like, I don't want to say I'm ashamed of the things that I did in the past. I do catch myself feeling ashamed for a lot of the things that I did, like the kind of bitchy, jealous girlfriend that I used to be, or, some of the things that I said or did when I was young and dumb. But thank God they didn't have cell phones with cameras when I was young. I know we've all said that, right? Anyone my age probably feels the same way. Our kids are definitely having a much harder go of life than we did. Uh, but I'm drawing now to the end of my live. In closing, I'm just keeping an open mind about dating. I'm facing my fears. I found myself talking to a young man that's never had a girlfriend, and he's scared to try online dating. And I couldn't even encourage him at the time because I was too scared to try online dating. And that was part of the reason that I felt inspired to do this, because I thought, um, people ask me for advice all the time about dating because of the kind of coaching I do, intimacy coaching. And I have no idea what online dating is like. So diving right in, I'm pretty excited about that. Um, Breaking my serial monogamy cycle, which will give me some time to really date. And I think a huge difference from the past is I'm open to meeting anyone, like anyone who's respectful and kind and passes like the initial assessment, obviously. But I'm not going to only pick people that I like their picture, or you know, something funny. When I was first scrolling through Tinder, I started to notice a pattern of which guys caught my eye. And I was like, oh, I do have a type. My type is broken. I have a thing for guys who are broken. I want to heal the world. That's been my past, how I've gone about my relationships. I've always been attracted to guys that need someone to heal them, or that would, do well to have someone help them heal. And I'm at a point now where I'm not interested in broken boys anymore. I just can't. I'm just too tired. I don't want to be a caretaker. I want to be a partner. I want to have a team with whoever I end up in a long-term relationship, if that happens again, which I think it will. Just hopefully not anytime soon. I'm going to have fun with this dating thing. Thank you for joining my live. You were afraid to make any move, Michael. Yeah. Yeah. Dating. It's scary. It's very scary. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Mwah! Wish me luck on dating. Check me out over at Patreon, patreon.com/Annie Temple. And you can sign up for free to hear my audiobooks right now. Not all of my audiobooks, but the fictional story that I'm writing. And also for all the previous live streams I've done one on why am I so horny and another one on loneliness. And I can't remember. I think I've done another one too. And my brain is not working because at this time of day, it doesn't work anymore because I'm a morning person. But Friday night, I never have plans. So that's why I picked Friday nights to do live streams. And now I can't go out on dates on Friday nights. So if you want to see me, join my live stream. Love you. Have a good weekend.